In this tutorial, we're going to be using Adobe Illustrator to combine shapes to create new artworks. It's a very helpful tool. It's very good for making, very simple graphic images, for example, for logos and different things. And the main tools that we're going to be using that we haven't already used, of course, we're going to be using, our lasso and our line selection tool, our object selection tool, and all of those things. A new tool that we're going to be using in this tutorial is called your shape builder, which is very useful. And I'm going to show you how to use that today. So let's go over to our Adobe Illustrator, and you can find this image. There's a number of files that you can find in with the assignment that you can follow along if you want to do this little project. It kind of is very helpful to sort of play around and practice using these tools to create different artworks. This is our art board. First thing we're going to do is go to view. We're going to fit artboard in window, make it a little bit larger. And here you can see a number of different objects. We can select all of these different objects. Notice how this one is made out of a circle and a rectangle, and a circular ellipse and a rectangle. A couple of different circles, circle. And our goal is we're going to try to create this object using these various parts. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to start off, and what I want to do is I want to combine these two shapes to create kind of a window shape, this window shape. And what we're wanting to do is first we're going to select, we're going to come over and somewhere above the object, we're going to left click and drag over the entire, and see how that has now selected this entire, both of these, both the circle and the square. If we hadn't done that, we could just move this away, but we don't want to do that. We want to combine these two together. So we're going to select, actually, let's move that back over a little bit. Kind of got that out of wonk. There we go. That's okay. Going to pull this over to select both. Then we're going to go over and we're going to take our shape builder tool, click it. And all we're going to have to do to combine these two is somewhere above or below, however you want to do it, you left click and you drag. And now notice as we go through the selection, how it is putting this kind of mesh, kind of gray over. That means it has selected that. It's selecting all of them. Once we've selected everything we want to combine, we release the button. You've been holding the left mouse button the whole time. You're going to release it. And there you go. It has done all that hard work for you. It has combined out. I got a little messy, but we're just going to continue, not worry about it. So we've created this kind of window shape. The next thing we want to do is let's create this kind of eye shape. Now, the way we're going to do that is you have these two circles. You put one over the other. If I have my selection tool, I can move it. You can kind of see it's just two big circles, one over the other. So the first thing you're going to do is you want to select both. You'll see here where these two intersect creates that eye that we want, right? But how do we get that? How can we just get just that? Well, again, we can kind of go to our shape builder tool. And the difference this time is we're going, because we want to, instead of combining it, we want to remove stuff. So in this case, you push down your Alt button. Notice how the little, if you look at your cursor, there's a plus there. That means it would add. But if we're going to remove, if you put Alt on a Mac, now, if you're on a PC, if you're using a Mac, I'm not real sure. You'll just have to kind of play with it. I'm not sure about a Macintosh. It might be Control. I think it's Control, but play around with it. As soon as push some buttons until you see that turn from a plus to a minus. But on a PC, you're going to push Alt and you're going to drag into it. And notice how it's just highlighting that first area. That's what's going to be deleted. So then you release your left mouse button and it's gone. We're going to come back down and do the same thing on the other side, and boom, it's gone. So go back to selection tool and deselect, and there you go. There's the eye. So let's move that eye. So you have the bounding box when I click it. And let's move him over here like so. There you go. Now, the next thing, it's left this, that's fine. Don't worry about it. The next thing we want to do is we're going to create the sort of the eyeball in the center. Obviously, it's very easy. We just sort of select this, move over here like so. There we go. And we want to create this sort of crescent moon shape in the eyeball, which is the light reflecting in the eyeball. We're going to go back in, drag over this whole section. We want just this crescent moon. So we're going to go back to shape builder, hit Alt, go into it. Boom. There we go. Move this over here like that. And lastly, if we want to then put this color behind, we just grab this and move it so it's behind like so. And there we go. Now, while we're on the subject of moving, for example, this, I should also say that when you put shapes into an artboard, they are stacked. Whatever is the newest is on top, or whatever was the last object that you put in the artboard. So obviously this blue kind of window shape was one of the first shapes to be put on this artboard. You can change where it is in the stack if you want to. So for example, if I want this to come in front of everything, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but let's say you did want to do that. You can right click it, go down to arrange, and you can either move it forward step by step by either using bring forward or send it back step by step using send back, or you can send it all the way to the front, bring to front like that. And now it's over everything, right? But if we want it to be in the very back, like it was, we go back down to arrange, send to back, and there you go. It's in the back. So there we are. That is basically how you can use shapes to create new shapes. And by using the very handy shape builder tool, you can deconstruct and reconstruct shapes to create all kinds of new objects to use in Adobe Illustrator.